Admiral Kim Tae-hyun stood in the command center of Terra Station, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. The orbital platform hung in space like a metal giant, its weapons pointing toward the darkness. For 300 years, humans had traveled between the stars. Now someone wanted to stop them. The communication console buzzed with an incoming message. The signal came from deep space, carrying the seal of the Galactic Council. Kim Tae-hyun had been expecting this moment for months. Intelligence reports suggested the alien governments were planning something big. "Sir, we have the transmission ready," said Captain Lee Min-ho, the head of human intelligence. His face looked grim as he handed over the decoded message. Kim Tae-hyun, read the words slowly. The message was written in perfect human language, which made it even more insulting. The Galactic Council had studied humanity well enough to speak their words, but not well enough to understand their spirit. The ultimatum was simple. Humanity had 30 days to surrender all faster-than-light travel technology. They had to destroy their military ships and promise never to leave their home solar system again. The Council called humans dangerous and unpredictable. They said human expansion threatened the peace of the galaxy. 12 alien races had signed the document. The Vorthak Empire led the group with their proud warriors and ancient traditions. The Zenthari Collective supported them, using their skills in politics and trade. Other races followed like sheep, afraid to stand against the powerful. Dr. Park. Soo-young entered the command center carrying a datapad filled with research. She was Earth's top expert on alien life and had spent years studying council species. Her knowledge would be crucial in the coming days. "Admiral, I finished my analysis of the council races," she said. "They fear us for good reason. Most species took thousands of years to develop space travel. We did it in decades after first contact. They see our growth as a threat to their control." Kim Tae-hyun nodded. He had suspected as much. The Council had ruled the galaxy for so long that they forgot other species could be strong too. They treated newer races like children who needed guidance. But humans were not children. Captain Lee Min-ho pulled up holographic displays showing human colonies across the galaxy. Red markers appeared on dozens of worlds where strange accidents had happened. Supply ships disappeared. Communication arrays failed. Trade agreements fell apart for mysterious reasons. The Council has been working against us for years, Lee Min-ho explained. They've been sabotaging our colonies and making life difficult for human settlers. This ultimatum is just their final move to put us in our place. The evidence was clear. While the Council spoke of peace and cooperation in public, they had been waging a secret war against humanity. They attacked human progress while smiling and offering friendship. Dr. Park Soo-young brought up files about each council race. The Vorthak were warriors who respected strength but had grown soft after centuries without real war. The Zenthari were clever, but relied too much on manipulation and politics. Other races had their own strengths, but they all shared one weakness. They had been on top for so long that they forgot how to fight for survival. They don't understand us, Dr. Park Soo-young continued. Council species evolved on stable worlds with plenty of resources. They never faced the challenges that made humans strong. We learned to adapt, to survive, to never give up. These are lessons they never needed to learn. Kim Tae-hyun thought about Earth's history. Humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. Every challenge made them stronger and more determined. The council races had lived easy lives under peaceful skies. They built their civilizations slowly and carefully, never rushing, never taking risks. But humans were different. They took chances. They pushed boundaries. They refused to accept limits that others tried to place on them. This made them dangerous to species that preferred the old ways. The Admiral's communication device buzzed with an incoming call from Earth. President Choi Hyun-woo appeared on the screen, his face serious but calm. Behind him, representatives from human colonies waited. For news. "Admiral Kim, has the Council made their position clear?" the President asked. "Yes, sir. They want us to surrender everything and return to Earth. They give us 30 days to comply or face their military forces." President Choi Hyun-woo was quiet for a moment. He had been elected to lead humanity through difficult times. And this was the greatest challenge yet. His next words would determine the future of the human race. "Call an emergency session of the Colonial Parliament," he said finally. "Every human world needs to vote on this decision. We face this together or not, at all." The next few hours were busy with messages flying between human worlds. Colony governors, military leaders, and civilian representatives all joined the emergency session. The holographic conference room filled with faces from across human space. Representatives from New Seoul spoke first. Their mining world had been hit hard by Council interference. Ships carrying vital supplies had been delayed or lost. The colonists had learned to survive on their own, but they were angry about the attacks. The agricultural colony of New Busan reported similar problems. Their food shipments to other worlds had been sabotaged. Insects that destroyed crops had mysteriously appeared after Council ships visited their system. Colony after colony told the same story. The Council had been making life difficult for humans, while pretending to be friends. Now they demanded surrender and expected humans to be grateful for the chance to survive. The debate lasted for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Every single human colony voted the same way. From the richest trade worlds to the poorest frontier settlements, the answer was unanimous. Humanity would not kneel. President Choi Hyun-woo's voice was steady as he delivered the decision to Admiral Kim Tae-hyun. "Send our response to the Council, Admiral. Tell them that humans do not surrender. Tell them that we will defend our freedom with everything we have." Kim Tae-hyun smiled for the first time that day. He had hoped for this answer, but hearing it still filled him with pride. Humans had faced extinction before and survived. They would survive this too. The message to the Council was short and simple. Humanity rejected the ultimatum. They would not surrender their technology, destroy their ships, or accept limits on their expansion. The Council could try to force them, but humans would fight back. As the communication went out to the alien governments, Kim Tae-hyun looked out at the stars again. Somewhere in that darkness, powerful enemies were preparing for war. They believed humans were weak and would break under pressure. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. The Council's response came faster than expected. 3 days after humanity rejected their ultimatum, alien warships appeared at the edge of human space. The Vorthak Empire led the attack with their massive battle cruisers, followed by ships. From other Council races, Fleet Commander Yoon Ji-won stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching enemy vessels approach New Busan Colony. The agricultural world had 2 million human settlers and massive food production facilities. The Council had chosen their target well, thinking humans would surrender to save innocent lives. "Sir, we count 47 enemy ships," reported the tactical officer. "They're moving in standard Council formation. No attempt at stealth or surprise." Yoon Ji-won nodded grimly. The council was so confident in their superiority that they didn't bother hiding their approach. For thousands of years, they had crushed opposition through overwhelming force. Smaller species always surrendered when they saw the size of council fleets. The alien commander sent a message to New Busan's orbital stations. His voice was cold and mechanical through the translation system. "Attention, human colonists. You have violated galactic law by refusing council authority. Surrender immediately and prepare for relocation to your home system. Resistance will result in the destruction of your world." Governor Han Minsu responded from the colony's surface. "This is our home now. We built it with our own hands, and we won't abandon it. If you want this world, you'll have to take it from us." The council commander seemed surprised by the refusal. Most species begged for mercy when faced with council fleets. Humans just made threats and prepared to fight. He decided to teach them a lesson about respecting their betters. "Begin orbital bombardment of military targets," the alien ordered. "Avoid civilian areas for now. We want the colonists alive to serve as an example to other human worlds." Captain Han Seok-jin commanded the defense of Prosperity Station, a mining facility on the outer edge of the system. His small squadron of patrol ships was vastly outnumbered, but he had advantages the Council didn't expect. "All ships, scatter. Formation," Han Seok-jin ordered. "Use the asteroid field for cover. Make them come to us." The Council ships moved forward in perfect order, their formations unchanged for centuries. They expected the human ships to either flee or make a desperate frontal attack. Instead, the humans disappeared into the maze of floating rocks. Vorthak warriors were proud of their combat skills, but they had fought the same way for thousands of years. Their tactics worked against other council races, who followed similar patterns and rarely tried new approaches. Humans were different. Han Seok-jin's ships used hit-and-run attacks, striking from unexpected angles and vanishing before the aliens could respond. The human vessels were smaller and faster than council ships, built for quick movement rather than heavy armor. "Enemy ship damaged and falling back," reported a human pilot. "Their shields can't handle concentrated fire from multiple directions." The council commander grew frustrated as his formation broke apart. His ships were designed to fight in organized groups, supporting each other with overlapping fire zones. When forced to split up and hunt individual targets, they became vulnerable. On Earth, Chief Engineer Kang Yuna worked frantically in the secret laboratories beneath the Korean peninsula. Project Prometheus had been running for 5 years, reverse engineering captured alien technology and improving upon it with human creativity. "How? Much longer until the new weapons are ready?" asked her assistant, Dr. Lee Jong-suk. "The prototypes are finished, but we need more time for mass production," Kang Yuna replied. "The Council thinks they know our capabilities, but they're in for a surprise." Human engineers had studied alien technology carefully, learning how it worked and finding ways to make it better. Council races had perfected their designs over millennia, but they rarely changed or improved them. Humans looked at the same technology and saw dozens of ways to enhance performance. Dr. Nam Jinwoo, Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, briefed the Human War Council about their enemy's mindset. His research would help military leaders understand how council species thought and reacted. "The council races evolved differently than we did," he explained. "Their worlds were stable and peaceful. They developed slowly, taking thousands of years to achieve what we accomplished in decades. This made them careful and conservative, but also predictable. The council species had learned to cooperate through mutual benefit rather than shared struggle." They made agreements that lasted for centuries because their environments rarely changed. When faced with rapid adaptation and unpredictable tactics, they struggled to respond effectively. They can't imagine a species that changes tactics mid-battle, Dr. Nam Jinwoo continued. To them, military doctrine is something you develop over generations and follow precisely. The idea of improvising based on immediate circumstances is foreign to their thinking. Back at New Busan, the battle was not going as the Council expected. Human defenders used unexpected tactics that confused alien commanders. Agricultural equipment was converted into weapons. Civilian transports carried hidden weapons and struck without warning. The Vorthak commander contacted his superiors, asking for additional forces. The humans are not fighting according to standard patterns. They use civilian vessels as military assets and change tactics constantly. Our projection models did not account for this behavior. Council military doctrine was based on thousands of years of experience fighting other council races. Every species they had conquered followed predictable patterns. Humans were the first to completely ignore established rules of warfare. Commander. Yoon Ji-won watched the alien fleet struggle to maintain formation as human ships darted between their lines. The council ships were powerful, but they moved like ancient giants, slow to turn and react. Human vessels danced around them like small fighters harassing large beasts. "Sir, the enemy is requesting reinforcements," reported the communications officer. "They're having trouble with our unconventional tactics." "Good," Yoon Ji-won replied. "Let them bring more ships. The more forces they commit here, the less they have available to attack other human worlds." The first day of fighting ended with unexpected results. The Council had captured one small orbital station, but lost 6 ships in the process. Human forces had suffered damage, but remained operational, using mobile repair units to fix their vessels during lulls in combat. The Vorthak commander reported to the Council leadership, his pride wounded by the humans' resistance. "The enemy is more resourceful than anticipated. They do not follow conventional military doctrine. We require additional time and forces to complete pacification." The Council leaders were disturbed by this news. No species had ever required a second wave of ships to subdue. The humans were supposed to be a minor inconvenience, not a serious military challenge. "Deploy the second fleet," ordered the Council chairman. "If the humans want to fight, we will show them the full power of galactic civilization. This rebellion ends now." As alien reinforcements gathered across the galaxy, human colonies prepared for the storm to come. They had bloodied the Council's nose in the first encounter, but everyone knew the real test was yet to begin. The Council still believed they were dealing with primitive rebels who would eventually see reason. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, building weapons and strategies specifically designed to fight superior alien technology. The war was just beginning, and both sides were about to learn things about each other that would change the galaxy forever. Fleet Admiral Oh Yoon-ji stood in the command center of the UES Indomitable, watching displays that showed the entire human colonial region. Red icons marked Council attack fleets moving toward human worlds. Green icons showed something the aliens had completely missed. "Begin Operation Starfall," she ordered. Across human space, thousands of ships that had been hiding suddenly appeared on sensors. The Council had focused on humanity's official military fleet, counting warships and estimating combat strength. They had ignored the massive network of civilian vessels that kept human colonies supplied and connected. Commander Lim Dong-yuk smiled as his engineering teams put the final touches on their latest creation. The cargo hauler Prosperity Dream had been a simple transport ship yesterday. Today it carried weapons that could punch through Council ship armor like paper. "Conversion complete, sir," reported Chief Engineer Park Suman. "All civilian transports in this sector are now combat-capable. The aliens won't know what hit them." The genius of human preparation lay not in building new warships, but in making every ship a potential weapon. Cargo haulers, mining vessels, colony transports, even passenger liners had been secretly equipped with military-grade systems. When the Council calculated human military strength, they missed 90% of the actual force. Captain Jung Mi-young commanded what appeared to be a refugee convoy fleeing the New Busan system. 50 transport ships carried evacuated colonists away from the fighting. The Council fleet let them pass, satisfied that the humans were finally showing proper fear. The aliens discovered their mistake when the fleeing transports suddenly turned and attacked. Each ship revealed hidden weapons and began hammering the rear of the Council formation. The rescue convoy was actually a strike force using evacuees as cover. "This is Mi-young to all refugee ships," she announced. "Weapons free. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten human families." The transport captains were all military veterans who had volunteered for colony transport duty. They knew their ships inside and out, and had spent years preparing for this moment. Their vessels might look like civilian haulers, but they fought like warships. Council forces found themselves caught between defending New Busan and dealing with attackers from behind. Their formations, designed to face enemies from one direction, crumbled under pressure from multiple angles. Commander Lim Dong-yuk demonstrated humanity's greatest advantage when his engineering teams began modifying ships during the battle itself. While Council vessels followed fixed designs unchanged for centuries, human ships adapted in real time. "Reroute power from life support to weapons," Dong-hyuk ordered. "Seal off damaged sections and convert them into missile storage. We need maximum firepower for the next attack run." Human engineers had studied every piece of alien technology they could find. They understood how Council systems worked, often better than the aliens themselves. This knowledge let them create hybrid designs that combined human innovation with alien engineering. The converted transport Bright Future now carried Council-style energy shields powered by human fusion reactors. The result was protection stronger than anything either species had built alone. Similar improvements appeared throughout the human fleet as engineers shared their discoveries. Lieutenant General Park Jung-soo revealed another secret when he activated hidden observation posts throughout Council space. For decades, humans had been establishing research stations and trading posts in alien territory. The Council had welcomed these facilities as signs of human cooperation. "All intelligence stations, begin full surveillance," Park Jung-soo ordered. "I want real-time data on every Council military installation, supply depot, and command center. It's time to use the information we've been gathering." The intelligence network was vast and sophisticated. Human traders had mapped every major trade route. Human researchers had studied every Council world. Human diplomats had identified political tensions and military weaknesses. Captain Lee Sang-wook's stealth ship Shadow Runner exemplified this preparation. Built using stolen Council cloaking technology and improved with human sensors, it could slip past alien defenses undetected. The ship carried detailed maps of Council military facilities, gathered over years of careful observation. "Sir, we have confirmed locations for all Vorthak fleet bases in this sector," reported the intelligence officer. "Their patrol schedules and defense patterns match our projections perfectly." The Council had been so focused on their own superiority that they never suspected the humans might be spying on them. They shared military information freely among member races, assuming no outsider could threaten their dominance. Back at the battle for New Busan, the tide began to shift. Council ships designed to fight predictable enemies struggled against opponents who changed tactics every few minutes. Human vessels that should have been destroyed kept fighting, their crews finding new ways to stay in the battle. Vorthak Commander Zekthul watched his formation collapse as human ships swarmed around his vessels like angry insects. His warriors were brave and skilled, but they had been trained to fight other honorable warriors, not desperate survivors who used every dirty trick they could think of. "Human vessel off the starboard bow," reported his tactical officer. "It appears to be a damaged transport, but sensors detect heavy weapons." "Destroy it," Zekthul ordered. But the human ship vanished into an asteroid field before his gunners could target it. Moments later, missiles streaked out from the rocks, damaging 2 council cruisers. The transport was actually a mobile weapons platform disguised to look helpless. Its crew had studied Vorthak's psychology and knew the warrior race would focus on obvious threats while ignoring apparently harmless targets. Dr. Kim Youngmin's research team on Earth achieved a breakthrough that would change everything. Working with captured council technology, they had developed weapons that could strike across entire star systems instantly. The range advantage that had protected council fleets was about to disappear. "Quantum targeting system is online," she reported to Admiral O. Yunji. "We can hit any target within 50 light-years with 0 travel time. The aliens won't even see the shots coming." The new weapons used principles that Council science had discovered but never fully developed. Human researchers had taken alien theories and pushed them far beyond what their creators thought possible. As news of the weapon test reached human commanders, excitement spread through the fleet. For the first time since the war began, humanity had an advantage the Council couldn't counter. Their massive ships and superior numbers wouldn't protect them from weapons that could strike from anywhere. Commander Jung Mi-young coordinated the evacuation of threatened colonies. But these weren't desperate retreats. The evacuation fleets were actually mobile cities, capable of relocating entire populations to new worlds within days. What the Council saw as refugee movements were actually strategic redeployments. "New Sol evacuation complete," she reported. "All colonists and industrial equipment relocated to backup Site Alpha. The world is ready for the trap." The Council forces moved in to occupy the apparently abandoned colony, expecting easy victory. Instead, they found automated defenses, hidden weapon caches, and a few thousand volunteers who had stayed behind to make the aliens pay for their conquest. Captain Han Seok-jin's Defense of Prosperity Station had become a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. His tiny squadron had been reinforced by mining equipment converted into weapons platforms. Industrial lasers designed to cut asteroids could also slice through alien hull armor. "Mining Platform 7 reports successful engagement," his communications officer announced. They destroyed a Council destroyer using modified asteroid processing equipment. The aliens were learning that humans could turn any tool into a weapon and any location into a fortress. Their careful invasion plans assumed they would face conventional military resistance, not an entire civilization that refused to accept defeat. As the first week of fighting ended, both sides assessed their positions. The Council had captured several human colonies, but the cost had been higher than expected. They had lost more ships in 7 days than in the previous century of conflicts. Humanity had revealed only a fraction of their true capabilities, but the effect was already dramatic. Council commanders found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to multiply and adapt faster than they could respond. The war was entering a new phase, and the Council was beginning to suspect they had seriously underestimated their opponents. Dr. Kim Youngman's quantum research team changed the war in a single moment. The first test of their new FTL weapons system turned a Council battleship into scattered debris across 3 star systems. The alien vessel had been 50 light-years away when it died, struck by weapons that traveled faster than space itself. "Target destroyed," reported the weapons operator, his voice filled with amazement. "The quantum torpedoes hit exactly where we aimed them. No travel time, no warning, no defense possible." Admiral Oh Yoonji watched the test results with satisfaction. The Council's greatest advantage had always been their ability to strike from safe distances with superior weapons. Now, humans could hit back from anywhere in the galaxy without their enemies even knowing an attack was coming. Commander Seo Ji-young's stealth ships began appearing throughout Council space like ghosts from humanity's nightmares. Her vessels used advanced cloaking technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. They struck without warning and vanished before defenders could respond. "Ghost Squadron to Fleet Command," Seo Ji-young reported from her ship Phantom Strike. "We've destroyed the Zenthari supply depot at Kethris Prime. No casualties on our side. Moving to secondary target." The stealth attacks were devastating to Council morale. Their ships and stations, once thought safe behind layers of defense, now faced sudden destruction from invisible enemies. The aliens had no counter for weapons they couldn't see coming. General Lee Sang-wook implemented psychological warfare on a scale the galaxy had never seen. Human forces broadcast their victories across Council space, showing the invincible Council fleets burning and retreating. The propaganda was simple, but effective. "Citizens of the galaxy," announced the broadcasts, "the Council told you they were unbeatable. Here is proof of their lies." The videos showed Council ships exploding, alien commanders surrendering, and human forces treating prisoners with dignity. Subordinate species who had served the Council for centuries began to question whether their overlords were truly as powerful as they claimed. On the Hirani homeworld, protests broke out against Council rule. The Hirani had been conquered 3,000 years ago and forced to serve as laborers in Council industries. Now they saw their masters losing battles to humans and wondered if freedom was possible. Similar unrest spread across dozens of worlds. The Council's authority had always depended on fear and the belief that resistance was hopeless. Human victories shattered that illusion and gave hope to oppressed species throughout the galaxy. Colonel Bae Subin demonstrated the brilliance of human tactical thinking when she exploited the Council's greatest weakness. While alien commanders waited for orders from distant capitals, her forces adapted and struck faster than their enemies could respond. "All strike teams, execute plan." "Delta 7, she ordered. "Target their command ships first. Without central coordination, their fleets will fall apart." The Council races had perfected cooperation over millennia, but their rigid hierarchy became a fatal flaw when faced with rapidly changing situations. Human commanders made decisions in minutes that took Council leaders hours to approve through proper channels. Captain Cho Hyerim prepared for humanity's most audacious operation yet. Simultaneous strikes on all 12 Council homeworlds would demonstrate that nowhere in the galaxy was beyond human reach. The operation required perfect timing and coordination across vast distances. "All task forces report ready," she announced, from the command ship Earth's Fury. "Begin countdown to Operation Hammerfall. In 60 minutes, we show the Council what humans can do when we stop holding back." The strike forces had been positioned secretly over several weeks, using stealth, technology, and careful planning to avoid detection. Each fleet carried enough firepower to cripple a major world's defenses and escape before reinforcements could arrive. The Zenthari Collective, masters of diplomacy and trade, attempted to negotiate with humanity as their military situation grew desperate. They offered humans junior membership in the Council and promised better treatment for human colonies. We recognized that our initial approach was overly harsh, the Zenthari ambassador admitted during a carefully arranged meeting. Perhaps we can find a mutually beneficial arrangement that preserves galactic stability. Admiral Kim Tae-hyun's response was broadcast across the galaxy, ensuring that every species heard humanity's position clearly. We don't join the Council. We replace it. Your time as rulers is over. The question is whether you step down peacefully or get dragged down fighting. The declaration sent shockwaves through Council space. No species had ever spoken to the ruling races with such confidence and contempt. The idea that humans might actually succeed in overthrowing galactic civilization was becoming terrifyingly real. Captain Lim Dong-hyuk's engineering teams achieved another breakthrough when they successfully merged human and alien technologies into something entirely new. Their hybrid weapons systems combined the best features of both species' designs while eliminating weaknesses. The new battlecruiser Defiant is ready for combat trials, he reported. She carries Council-grade shields, human-designed weapons, and quantum drive systems that make her faster than anything else in space. The hybrid ships represented humanity's adaptability in action. While Council races spent centuries perfecting single designs, humans constantly improved and evolved their technology. Each battle taught them new lessons that immediately became part of their arsenal. Operation Hammerfall began exactly on schedule. Across the galaxy, human strike forces emerged from hiding and attacked the most heavily defended worlds in Council space. The simultaneous assault was perfectly coordinated, despite covering thousands of light-years. Strike Force Alpha engaging. Vorthak Prime Defense Grid, reported Captain Cho Harem. Initial bombardment successful. Moving to secondary targets. Strike Force Beta has neutralized the Zenthari orbital platforms, came another report. Ground defenses are falling back. No significant resistance. One by one, the reports flooded in from every Council homeworld. Humanity's most sacred targets, the worlds that had ruled the galaxy for millennia, were under attack and losing. The psychological impact was devastating. The Council had always maintained that their homeworlds were impregnable fortresses protected by layers of defense. Seeing them fall to human weapons shattered the foundation of their authority. If the ruling worlds weren't safe, then nowhere was safe. Commander Park Ji-won led the assault on the Threk's homeworld, demonstrating human tactical flexibility when the initial plan encountered unexpected resistance. Instead of retreating or calling for reinforcements, his forces adapted their strategy in real time. Enemy shield grid is stronger than projected, he reported. Switching to Plan Gamma. We'll use their own defense satellites against them. The human forces hacked into the Threk's defense network and turned their orbital weapons against their own installations. Within hours, the supposedly impregnable defenses were destroying themselves while human ships watched safely from outside. The range of fire. As news of the attack spread, panic erupted throughout Council space. The ruling races had never faced simultaneous threats to their core worlds. Their military forces were scattered across the galaxy, trying to contain human expansion, leaving their most important targets vulnerable. The Vorthak Emperor made an emergency broadcast calling for all Council species to unite against the human threat. His words were desperate, very different from the confident ultimatum humanity had received months earlier. "The humans seek to destroy everything we have built," he declared. "They offer only chaos and destruction. We must stand together or fall separately to these barbarians." But the Emperor's words fell on deaf ears. Too many species had suffered under Council rule for too long. They saw human victories not as a threat to civilization, but as an opportunity for freedom. The war was no longer about containing human expansion. It had become a fight for the survival of the galactic order itself. The Council faced enemies on all sides as their subjects rebelled and their military forces crumbled under constant attack. Admiral Yunji prepared for the final phase of humanity's campaign. The Council was broken and demoralized, but wounded enemies could still be dangerous. It was time to finish what the aliens had started when they threatened human freedom. "All fleet commanders prepare for Operation Final Dawn," she ordered. The Council made their choice when they tried to enslave us. Now, they faced the consequences of underestimating humanity. Fleet Admiral Yunji commanded the largest human armada ever assembled as it approached Dominion Prime, the ancient capital of the Galactic Council. The massive fleet contained ships from every human world, crewed by volunteers who wanted to witness the end of alien tyranny. "All ships report ready for final assault," announced Captain Kim Hanul from the flagship Humanity's Will. "The orbital defenses around Dominion Prime are the strongest in the galaxy, but they won't save the Council today." The capital world had been the center of galactic government for over 10,000 years. Its defensive systems were legendary, built by 12 different species and improved constantly over millennia. No enemy had ever broken through the layered shields and weapon platforms that protected the Council's seat of power. General Park Jung-soo's forces had been infiltrating the system for weeks, using the chaos of the war to position assault teams throughout the defensive grid. Human intelligence networks, built over decades of careful preparation, provided detailed maps of every installation. "Ghost teams are in position," he reported. "On your signal, we can disable 60% of their defensive platforms from the inside." The aliens never suspected that their own maintenance crews included human agents. The infiltration was the final proof of humanity's patient planning. While the Council had focused on military threats, humans had been placing people throughout alien society. Repair technicians, cargo handlers, and administrative staff had all been quietly gathering intelligence and preparing for this moment. Dr. Kim Youngmin's quantum weapons team prepared to deploy their ultimate creation. The quantum transmitter network could disable any technology based on Council design principles. In one coordinated pulse, every alien ship, station, and defense grid would go dark across the galaxy. "Quantum suppression field ready for deployment," she announced from her laboratory on Earth. "Once activated, all Council technology will be rendered inoperable for approximately 6 hours. Their ships will be helpless." The weapon represented the perfect fusion of alien science and human ingenuity. Council researchers had discovered the quantum principles decades ago, but never developed them fully. Human scientists had taken the incomplete theories and turned them into the ultimate equalizer. The battle began with a coordinated assault that shattered Council expectations. Human stealth ships appeared throughout the defensive grid, attacking from positions that should have been impossible to reach. At the same moment, infiltration teams activated explosives inside key installations. "Sector 7 defense grid is down," reported Commander Seo Ji-young from her stealth ship. "The aliens are trying to reroute power, but our people are cutting. The backup systems as fast as they can establish them. The Vorthak fleet guarding Dominion Prime fought with desperate courage, but their formations crumbled under attacks from every direction. Human ships emerged from quantum tunnels, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before defenders could respond. Council Admiral Thextar watched his defenses collapse with growing horror. His forces had been trained to fight honorable battles against predictable enemies. The humans struck like demons from nightmares, appearing everywhere at once and following no rules of civilized warfare. "How are they inside our defensive perimeter?" he demanded. "Our shields should prevent any approach to the planet." His tactical officer's response was grim. "Sir, they're not breaking through our defenses. They're already inside them. The humans have been here all along." Dr. Kim Youngman activated the quantum suppression field at the moment when Council resistance was strongest. The pulse spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speed, reaching every Council installation simultaneously. The effect was instantaneous and total. Every Council ship went dark. Weapon systems failed. Life support stopped. Communication networks died. For the first time in their history, the ruling races were helpless, floating in space without power or protection. "Quantum suppression successful," Dr. Kim Youngman reported. "All Council technology is offline. They're completely helpless until the field dissipates in 6 hours." The silence that followed was deafening. For thousands of years, Council space had hummed with the constant chatter of communications, the movement of fleets, and the operation of massive industrial complexes. Now there was nothing but darkness and quiet. Commander Lim Dong-yuk oversaw the liberation of subjugated worlds as human forces spread throughout former Council territory. Dozens of species that had served as slaves for millennia suddenly found their chains broken and their oppressors powerless. "The Hirani homeworld is secure," he reported. "The population is celebrating in the streets. They're calling it Independence Day and asking for human protection while they establish their own government." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The Cathani threw off their economic bondage to the Zenthari. The Yorthek drove out their Vorthak overseers. Species that had forgotten freedom remembered what it meant to be free. Captain Jung Myung established humanitarian aid stations on former Council worlds, demonstrating that humanity conquered not to enslave but to liberate. Human medical teams treated alien refugees while human engineers helped repair infrastructure damaged in the fighting. "The former Council species are requesting assistance," she reported. "Many of their worlds are in chaos without central authority. They're asking humans to help maintain order until they can establish new governments." The irony was not lost on human commanders. The same species that had tried to force humanity into submission were now begging for human help and protection. But unlike the Council, humans offered aid without demanding servitude in return. President Choi Hyan-woo arrived at Dominion Prime aboard the diplomatic vessel New Earth to address the galaxy from the ruins of the Council chamber. His words would establish the new order that would replace the old tyranny. "Citizens of the galaxy," he began, his voice broadcast to every world that had communication systems. "The Council claimed they ruled for your protection and prosperity. They lied. They ruled for their own benefit while keeping other species in chains." The speech was translated into hundreds of languages and transmitted across known space. For the first time in galactic history, a leader spoke of equality between species rather than dominance by the strongest. "Humanity offers a new compact," President Choi continued. Not a council of overlords, but an alliance of equals. Species that embrace cooperation and mutual respect are welcomed as partners. Those who still believe in the old ways of dominance will find themselves alone and unwelcome. The response was overwhelming. Within days, dozens of species formally requested to join the new human alliance. They brought their unique technologies, cultures, and perspectives to a partnership that valued diversity over conformity. Some former council species chose isolation rather than equality. The Vorthak withdrew to their home world, unable to accept a galaxy where they were not in charge. The Zenthari attempted to rebuild their commercial empire, but found few species willing to trust their promises again. Admiral Kim Tae-hyun recorded his final log entry from the bridge of Terra Station as human fleets returned from their galactic campaign. The war that had begun with an alien ultimatum ended with humanity as the dominant power in known space. They called us primitive, he spoke into the recorder. They called us violent. They called us unworthy. They were right about one thing. We are violent when we need to be. The difference is, we know when to stop. The Council never learned that lesson. He paused, looking out at the stars that had once seemed so threatening. They thought they could force us to surrender our dreams and accept limits on our growth. They discovered that humans don't surrender. We adapt, we overcome, we survive. The war had lasted 8 months and ended with humanity's complete victory. But more importantly, it had ended with the liberation of hundreds of worlds and the establishment of a new galactic order based on freedom rather than oppression. That's why they're extinct, Admiral Kim Tae-hyun concluded, and we're still here. The human alliance grew rapidly as more species joined the partnership. They brought their own strengths to complement human adaptability and determination. The galaxy began to heal from millennia of council tyranny. Trade routes reopened under fair agreements rather than forced tribute. Scientific research accelerated as species shared knowledge freely instead of hoarding it for advantage. Art and culture flourished as different races learned from each other. Dr. Park Soo-young established the Galactic Cultural Exchange Program, helping species learn about their new partners and build relationships based on understanding rather than fear. The diversity that the Council had seen as chaos became the Alliance's greatest strength. "We're building something the galaxy has never seen before," she reported to the Alliance Council. "A civilization based on choice rather than conquest. It won't be perfect, but it will be better than what came before." The former council races that chose to join the alliance found themselves welcome despite their past oppression of other species. The alliance judged species by their current actions rather than their history, offering redemption to those willing to embrace equality. As the first year of the human alliance came to an end, the galaxy was unrecognizable from what it had been under council rule. Freedom had replaced slavery.